We are continuing today the latest links series of video and documents that I post online for the last 2 months already. And we are going to start with the books that I'm reading right now. The books are and that I read since we have last seen each other. This is a series of 2 books of Kerry Cassidy, The Space War, Total Recall, book 1 and 2. It's a set of interview she took from Captain Mark Richards. This is a man that is in the know about space program, secret space program. Other set of books that I read is a book called The Forbidden Secrets of Ancient Wizards, Transforming Your Life with Magical Rituals, Chants, and Prayers. The author is Valiantor. There are similar books written by him under a different name almost 100 years ago. The next subject, you can see me, is a video that I created. A video regarding Royal Ontario Museum, Chinese section. There are a lot of artifacts and murals, statues brought from China, medieval China. These statues are extremely valuable. I have the comments are in Romanian, but you can set up caption in English. I allow for international translation. How you do it? You go to settings, caption, and you translate in whatever language you prefer. These are musical instruments exposed and pictures with how they are supposed to look like. I will leave the links to all the video. The next video is the Museum of Bucharest. It's situated in Bucharest, and it's a collection of lithographies from 17th and 19th century. Again, the voice is in Romanian, but I allow English translation. This was a private home. We have a collection of images of Bucharest from 17th and 19th century. This is lithography from 1843. And a comparison, we have a comparison here of how buildings looked in the past and how they looked in the present. We had fortresses in Bacău, a lithography of a fortress in Bacău. Lithography from 1810. The older the images are, the closer to the real history are the images. Beautiful buildings. Next subject is Toronto, University of Toronto. I visited the University of Toronto, and St. George campus, it's a very old building. It seems to be partially submerged. So partially part of the old buildings seems to be underground. These buildings are reused by University of Toronto, and just happened that I went inside and took some video of the University of Toronto. Then I have a set of six video with my paintings. Actually, I realized on video a collection of all my paintings up to date. And I'm presenting them in few videos. This is the first year, first paintings. They are my paintings from 2020. The next one is 2021. So we don't have repeating paintings. How I did them, some are paint by numbers, some are paint by following the diverse teachers online. Why I painted them? It's to avoid watching TV during COVID era. So 2021. 2022, So I have a collection of around 230 paintings, over 200 paintings, I can say. There is a musical, so I have flowers, cityscapes, scenery, animals, birds, winter scenes, fall scenes. Another one is 2023, my paintings from 2023. So there are 3 minutes videos with musical background. Now, the next video I created this last 2 months, again, it's in Romanian, but caption are in English. Ontario Legislative Building. An extremely large building having Moorish characteristics. Moors were the black people that lived in North America prior to the arrival of Europeans. That's one of the theory. They were highly advanced, technologically advanced, and they built beautiful buildings. Official theory is different. These buildings have been burned and restored, and at restoration, they figured it out that underneath the previous restoration, there were paintings and that people were not aware of. So those owning the building were not aware of. Very interesting are the illuminating system. All the light fixture have a sphere or a round part at the bottom of the light fixture, and usually is has some sort of metal mercury connected. I visited this Parliament building. That's how the Parliament of Ontario look like. We have way too many forms of government. Over 3 million people work for the government without producing anything, just taxes and the new law that tax more those that work. This is the floor of the building of one of the floor that has the same imprint as floors of churches in South America. Again, all the old churches in North America. They have a collection of paintings that were from 19th century. They were financed theoretically by the government. They reflect the life of people living in present Canada at that time. More light fixtures. 1902 paintings. Uh, we continue with my paintings from 2024. A diverse palette. I have here all the paintings, even those that are not, uh, that I sold already. So I have a record of everything that I painted since 2020 when I started painting, basically. This is 2024. We continue to Rome, Royal Ontario Museum. I hope I do record, yes. Royal Ontario Museum. This is the Greek section, and there are few findings. Statues with face of monkey faces, men with tails, uh, people extremely large that the proportion between the height of the person and height of this animal, it's different from what is now. Different ceramics that you need to read what they are for to figure it out. So I will highly recommend, if you live in Toronto, to go to visit Royal Ontario Museum and find things that are surprising. This looks like a laptop, but can also be a jewelry box. But why assume that in the past were less intelligent or less developed people? The reality is that people sometimes went backward. Aretusa. So this is a collection of seals, of coins, of jewelry, gold jewelry. This is a mirror, used to be a mirror. This is Alexander the Great, a map of conquest. Alexander was obsessed with the idea of immortality. He died at 32 years old, when he was 32 years old, but by his conquest, which was basically murder, he left a lot of places that keep his name. So there are a lot of places, more than one, that keep Alexander the Great's name as their name of the city. Um, Kingdom of Bactria. Here are the kingdoms of Alexander's successors. So for those that love history, a trip to Royal Ontario Museum is very interesting. Kingdom of Pergamon. It's a capital of a Roman province in Asia. present Turkey. And here are coins from Thracia. Alexander the Great lived in 323 BC. Also, at this museum, we have one of the Artemis was Macedonian shield. At this museum, we have a copy over a statue that was considered one of the old world wonders. These are faces of Greeks and Romans. Now here, it's possibly misplaced, but apparently there are a set of little statues discovered in Illinois that show the coexistence of humans and different species of animals that we have now. And apparently these statues are extremely old, but they were found on North America. Few of similar statues you can find at different museums around the world. They are not very well explained, but it's very interesting to research the statues found, I think, found on Illinois. This is the view from the second floor to the first floor, from the Greek section to Chinese section of Royal Ontario Museum. This has vases from 400 BC and copper and gold jewelries. The next video is a video. 8 ore, practic. So again, we want English subtitles. Okay. And this video is a trip in Boston that I made with a bus that is transformed in a boat. So it's an amphibious machine. There is a company that owns 28 such machines, very good guides, and you can see the downtown, Boston's downtown, and you can also see this is the Library of Boston. I have a separate video with the interior of that library. And the churches that we saw around 6-7 churches on one street, very close to each other in downtown Boston. And the guide explained to us um, the history of the city and the history of Boston. These churches are, this is a Russian church from 1600, and it's still in use by a different congregation, not a Russian congregation. And we see different places in Boston in this trip with very pertinent and good quality information from our tour guide. At the end of this tour, the second part of this tour, the same bus is transformed in a boat, and we travel on the river that it's extremely large, and we can see the bridges from below. Uh, in Boston, there are some very large university, Cambridge and MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and University of Cambridge. Let's stop here. This river is, it looks like a canal, artificial canal. And on the sides of the river, there are very large, regular stones that build the canal. Nobody talks about who really built the margins of this very large river. Again, this place was used for a long time. You can find the official history of city of Boston from this video, but behind the official history, there is always another history, another unknown history of the city that you can find only if you ask question and see with yourself and ask yourself a different set of questions that they tell you. So this type of amphibious machines were built for the army initially in 1945. In Toronto, it used to be a similar company, travel agency that took the tourists. That's how the boat slash amphibious look like. So this is another boat of another group that traveled at that time, and yeah, we are going back to the land now. So as I said, in Toronto, it used to be another company that provided the same service, travel on water and on the land, showing tourists the city of Toronto. But the city of Toronto decided that it will not allow them to go into Lake Ontario, so they moved their business in another place. I think also in Canada, but not in Toronto. They tell us that in Boston, uh, it started a movement against the separation movements against the British Crown that taxed people that brought tea um, from India to North America. They tell us the official story of different buildings in Boston. Uh, Boston also has a uh, museum, fine art museum, uh, with a lot of beautiful paintings that that you can take picture of. Uh, but the museum, the architecture of the museum is beautiful. Have so much material that it is probably that we are going to split this this material into sessions. So these are paintings that actually offer us a travel in time. This is a real-time travel because we see how people look like, how people were dressed, how buildings look like. They were, so in these paintings is from 1596. What was life a few hundred years ago? We observe in these paintings that the cathedrals were there. The cathedrals were there in Europe and in North America. Also, the art of realistic paintings was very well developed. So from the painting themselves, the art of painting, we can have the conclusion that we did not evolve. Our art did not evolve at all. Think of the art that is pushed on our throat in the present time, just some color thrown on the piece of, I don't know, wall. So they had realistic paintings. This is how they imagine or they have seen Egypt, because in 1823 they saw very large buildings, and the columns of these buildings, okay, uh, the columns of these buildings were stolen, and some of these columns can be found in Austria Kunsthistorische Museum. Some of the ancient columns of Egyptian buildings can be found in other museums of the world, where rich people send the armies to steal and bring back to their own country technology, art, and and other so these paintings and other objects. So these paintings was from 1700. So think about the quality of the art compared to the quality of the art in the 19th and 20th century. There still are people that are extremely talented, but what is promoted as modern art is not, it's very bad quality. Look at these paintings. Not only the paintings is beautiful, but also the frame of the painting. So in this museum, you see how large buildings were at 1630. So these were building already built. They seems to be old already and functional. So our history can be, a real history can be retrieved partially from the old paintings we find in the large museums of the world. So my trip to Boston continue with Opera House. That was an old building that escaped from the destruction of the modern era, and it's still in use. Actually, we visited first night the exterior, and the second day we went to a ballet, Nutcracker. That was extremely affordable. We pay $29 per person to see a ballet, very good quality. But my main focus was to see the building itself. This building was renovated for a few times since the beginning of the buildings. This buildings has also an artificial history, in my opinion. The renovation had lower quality than the initial building, even though it cost $50 million, and that was in 2003. So that was the second renovation. Now let's see a little bit. This building is situated in the French Quarter, And now we are going inside. This building is associated with the man that has the statue uh, in front of the entrance, but there is a interesting story with that man. He said that own 500 theaters, but he started as uh, low educated worker, but he ended up owning 500 theaters. So possibly the history of this owner is false. This building has an architecture similar to a building from New York City, a theater in New York City. The quality of the interior design, it's extremely high. And I can say that this is one of the most beautiful opera houses that I have ever seen in my life. And I have seen few. In the hallways, you can see a video of shows that run during the present year, and this guy is a guy that showed that at the renovation, the architect left a cranium, a little cranium uh, in the ceiling, a cranium toy, basically in the ceiling of this floor. So I'm looking, and in the end, we are going to, I don't know if I have the picture of that little cranium. It's very small, so 3 centimeter in diameter, I will say. So the Boston Opera is something else. The ceiling, I think it's 1 floor high, with a rounded architecture, with illumination uh, under the ceiling, that it's hidden from the eye. Here is you see, there are holes built in the architecture, and that is for ventilation and heating. This is the renovated part that is different quality from the initial architectural view. So let's continue with the next subject. I will leave the entire video. I was so excited to see this building. This is another video in Boston with the driver explaining the history of the city of Boston. And the Stamp Act repealed in 1765. So the fight against taxation from Great Britain started in Boston, and that was the beginning of the separation of from Great Britain. Another video I prepared these last 2 months is about the bells. A lot of bells were removed, and apparently we need to reverse engineer the technology of the bells. They have so on different YouTube channels there are different suggestions regarding what they were used for. Some say they were used to emit sound, and that sound, that tonality, were used for healing of large masses of people. They emitted 432 frequency. 432 hertz frequency. The justification is that the material for the bells was used for building weapons. In reality, the functionality of these bells was removed from the city. The beauty of the architecture was changed into prison-like cubes architecture that was called modern architecture. And yeah, so that was about the bells and frequency. The next subject, probably we are going to end in a few minutes, and we are going to continue we are going to split the exposure of this latest links in another day. So let's continue so far. So we have a collection of cylinder seals at the Museums of Fine Arts in Boston. So what is with these cylinder seals? These cylinder seals were small cylinders, 3 centimeters in height, are approximately 0.5 centimeters in diameter, that were found in the present Iraq. They are very ancient, and they tell the history of ancient people. At the beginning of 19th century, 19th and 20th century, a group of people were sent to Iraq to do excavation, Iraq, Egypt, and bring home whatever they have found. They found a few hundred thousand of cylinder seals. They express the history. So about 2900, 3000 BC. So they are the history of the ancient people. And they represent animals, some that do not exist. This is 6,000 years old cylinder seal. Writings, they are from ancient Near East, and they talk about people of different heights, possible aliens, possible Anunnaki. And these cylinder seals can be found. So I found them in different museums. So Boston Museum of Fine Arts, Metropolitan Museum in New York, um, Royal Ontario Museum in Toronto. I found them in Europe, in Austria. So, and apparently they are in London too. They are made of different materials. And you see there are humanoids, half men, half some other beings that are represented, and this cylinder seal represent what? The history of the human race 6,000 years ago. So these are extremely precious artifacts exposed to this fine art museum in Boston. History of Gilgamesh. So these cylinders, seals, were rolled on a piece of clay, and on that piece of clay remain the sculptures that are on reverse that are imprinted on these cylinder seals. I think I took a picture of each and every one that was exposed at that time. There are seals at a later date that were imprinted on rings. And this cylinder seals tells a history of their owners. Another museum I saw in Boston, Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. This museum is a museum created by a lady that got an inheritance from her father, and she got married with a man that died in his early age, 38 years, when he was 38 years old. She was an educated person, and she used her inheritance to collect art around the world. She lived at the beginning of 20th century, and she built she built or found a house in Boston where she exposed her collections, her art collection. Part of the art collection was purchased with the help of one of her former teacher to the college, I think. But she was involved in the building of this house, that's what they say, and in exposing the art objects in this museum. And she got the instruction, she left in her testament that all the objects should be left where she placed them. So she was very particular about how the museum, so this property was built as a museum, where she exposed all the artifacts that she purchased in her lifetime. She purchased a lot of religious art, a lot of art from Middle East, from Asia, paintings, furniture, clocks, religious art, a lot of religious art. So this is the lady. The museum has 4 floors, and I got the suggestion to visit this museum from a lady that told me about this museum as Boston Art Museum. She was a teacher, art teacher at that museum, and she said, if you have time, go and visit Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. So her initial name was Isabella Stewart, and Gardner was the name she got from after she got married. And again, these museums show how people look like in the past, how their life look like, uh, how they were dressed, how the buildings, how the clothes look like, how the animals look like. Another tour of Boston by car. I think we already visited this one. Now in Boston, there is a uh, castle called Souders Castle. This castle has the proof that Boston was part of flew part of an event called by the present researchers as mud flood. Why? Because the first floor of the castle is underground, and not only that, The windows at the underground floor are extremely large. That means these windows were above ground at one time. These windows were covered. Somebody else inherited this building, and it's transformed now in partial restaurant, partial room for weddings, or some sort of shows, the projection shows. But the idea is these were windows that were above the ground and now are 2 meters or 1 meter underground. And the windows, from the windows to the initial ground, should have been another meter or two. So, and that's how the building look like. The stones are extremely large. Again, proof of another architectural uh, and construction culture. This is in the middle of the town. Uh, it's very close to a high-end hotel in Boston. This is another of my 2025 paintings. 2025 paintings slideshow. Uh-oh. Okay. Okay. So next was the my presentation. I have on December 13, I had a books and art show where my books were presented, and a few of my paintings, of course not all because I have too many, were presented to this books and art show that I created with another friend, uh, Akram. And this was a resume of my art show on December 13. Okay, so let's stop here and continue. I think I have one more. I have one more video, and next time we are going to do only blog entries. This video is about New York Museum, a museum in New York, Metropolitan Museum in New York. Mm, Metropolitan Metropolitan and Brooklyn Museum. So the first part is Brooklyn Museum. I want to show you this part where the Inca kings uh, portraits are exposed to Brooklyn Museum. You cannot find the Inca kings pictures in Peru, but you can find in Brooklyn Museum. And we have impossible statues here. You don't want to see me twice. Okay, this is how Brooklyn Museum looks like. I have a history of Brooklyn Museum. And other subjects. This is Metropolitan Museum, New York. And again, videos are in Romanian. A history of World Trade Center that I am aware of. And yeah, video from New York. So let's stop here. Okay. Stop sharing. So this was the presentation for today of the latest links. So this was only the video part, and I have a lot of blogs entry that are extremely interesting. So see you next time. Thank you for your time. I'm Liliana Usvat.